Moving on to our next story, we are talking about Cowboy Bebop on Netflix. Now, I thought this was dead. Like, I thought this was deader than dead. Apparently, I was wronger than wrong because it is coming out, again, live action, Netflix, and they announced the cast,
Right.
which was like a triple hitter for me. Maybe some other people heard about the fact this was coming out earlier, like actually coming out. But for me, it just came like it was just like this 1 2 3 punch, like trying to play Punch Out, like just get or Hajime no Ippo, just getting like hit, like, and it's not a bad hit, but man, did it hit. So we
Time
have
for a stand. All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's jam.
Yeah, right. We have John Cho as Spike. We have Mustafa Shakir as Jet. We have Daniela Pineda as Faye. And we have Alex Hassel as Vicious. Now, if anyone does not remember the story of Cowboy Bebop, think about Space Dandy, but serious. It was don't don't do that. Now I'm gonna get murdered. No, I actually really like Space Dandy, but when it
I
comes to
did so.
yeah, when it comes to Cowboy Bebop, it was very episodic. So, in I don't know if this is going to be a typical Netflix show, very a much more connected plot than Cowboy Bebop, where they had a few episodes that went alongside a main quote unquote story, but for
Yeah,
the most part, a lot of them were episodes you could just watch on TV out of order, and as long as you know kinda a little bit about Bebop, you can kind of
yeah.
jump in, right?
That's basically how I've seen the series. Just catching it
Yeah,
randomly on Toonami late nights.
exactly. Yeah.
I think I've seen all of it. I
I
think.
hope. I mean, either way, we're not podcasting on it right now. It's fine if you didn't. But I have it on DVD. No, I mean, seriously, we're not reviewing it. We're not
Yeah,
reviewing
yeah,
it. But anyway, but I have it on DVD, so I've seen the whole thing. It's been a very long time, but I've seen the whole thing. Don't have the movie. Should probably get that sooner rather than later, just in
yeah.
general. But
I want to
either
get
way,
both too.
yes. So,
But yeah, no, it's a great
it's.
series, and it's interesting because I
Hmm.
feel like a series like this is actually better suited for a live action interpretation.
Than many others because with a series like this, it's a lot more heavy on close combat action and
Yeah,
sci-fi, things that are being done in plenty of other shows. So
right.
it's not like something along the lines of Naruto or Dragon Ball Z, which it's so much larger than life that you would need a Hollywood budget just to produce the TV show with special effects that could even somewhat mirror what you see in the anime. And I know
Yeah,
the special effects are getting cheaper and cheaper, but still, even with something like, and I'm only discussing this from the trailers that I've seen, from like the newest Captain Marvel movie, or from movies that I have seen, like Batman v Superman, or even Justice League, it's very hard to make super powered people,
right.
look
Yeah,
good in with CG in movies like this. So in this case, I think that you could do a really good job with
right.
this. And looking at
Well,
the
like,
casting, what were you
yeah.
gonna say, Tristan?
Oh, yeah. The casting looks great.
What were you gonna
The
say
only
before
thing
that?
I would say is that they might have some problems with space travel, trying to make that look more. So we may get less of that.
I mean, there
Which,
wasn't much space travel in the original. They were just like random shots here and
I
there.
mean,
It wasn't like
they
they were.
were they were episodes. Well, I mean, they did have like they'd have dogfights here and there, but that was usually in atmosphere.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
but
the
like when
interesting
they
thing.
would
Yeah,
travel through like the hyperspace rings, which the hyperspace highway they had between, I think it
yeah,
was,
but
didn't it go all the way out to Pluto?
if I remember correctly, they could just. And I'm not saying that they did this, but they could just use stock footage. Like they could make it once and then just copy paste it when they need it
Yeah,
elsewhere. It doesn't need to
right.
be like a brand new solar system,
Yeah,
shot
yeah,
every time. Like they can just do
right.
little bits here and there and reuse that. And yes, you're right, the dogfights did happen. So like that type of travel could be a bit difficult, but they'll probably do that in their first episode and then never again till like maybe 9 or
Right.
something. Because it's a 10 episode live action series, we don't know if they would ever consider a season 2 or something like that. So
Right.
we're not there just yet. But when looking at the cast, there was a so when we were talking about the Dragon Ball Z 30th anniversary edition, Tristan, you were definitely sitting there like, ah, man, this sucks, but what are you gonna do? And in that case, I was like, Tristan, please, there are people who are upset about this. In this case, I'm like, I really like, what are you gonna do? Because there are people who are actually very upset, like, Spike is Asian, and I'm like, yes, yes, he is. I'm so sorry to hear that he is Asian, and like, it's just so silly. Now, some people were saying, interestingly enough, they were like, wait, but wouldn't Faye be Asian? She was Singaporean. in the anime. And I'm like, okay, good point, right? Like we can have a discussion on this when people are like, how dare Spike be Asian? I'm like, come on, guys, like really? Not only was he based off of, I don't remember the exact actor he was based off of. I'll find it out as we're talking about this. But even putting that aside just for a second, people were saying for years, which I was actually on board with this. Oh, Keanu Reeves should be Spike. And I was on board for this, Tristan. But now Keanu Reeves is 55.
Right.
Unless this was a sequel, he does not need to be Spike.
Yeah.
Spike is in his 20s.
That's fair.
Latest 30s. Spike is not 55. Now does Keanu Reeves look good? Damn straight. I actually do want to see the all three John Wicks. I do. No, he's still good in action roles. But like he's supposed to be in his 20s. Now to be fair, John Cho is also apparently, I think, if I remember correctly, let me take a look at this now. John Cho is actually in his 30s? 40s? Right. I'm going to check that right now. But John Cho is actually 46. So he is, to be fair, 9 years younger than Keanu Reeves, but man, he does not look 46. I'll say that much. Right. That's interesting. He definitely does not look 46 years old. Right. Either way though, what your thoughts on people getting this upset about the cast?
I mean,
because it's not just John Cho. People were like, "Oh, apparently Jet Black is black now." And I'm like, "Now?" I'm like, "Now?"
Funny. I'm like,
he never
really?
was.
No one said anything about that. I figured that would have been the first thing people.
No. People were also saying that, and I was so confused. I was like, "But he's always been." And some could argue, well, actually, you know what's interesting too? I should clarify this. So, as this is actually on me, Mustafa Shakir. I'm gonna check his see him right now and see some of his, because I've seen him in one role. Right. The one role that I saw him in was Marvel's Luke Cage. Right. And in Marvel's Luke Cage, he did not play an African-American man. He played a brown man. Now, that's different. That's the difference between saying, like, oh, this person is African-American and this person is Guyanese. Major difference. So I'm wondering if he is African-American or if he is brown. And the difference is because some people were saying, oh, apparently Jet Black is black. I thought he would be a brown person. Well, he might actually be.
Right.
So I'm very curious about this. He says nothing about this on his Wikipedia page. So I don't know. I'm not saying that I care as feverishly as the internet does, but I just wanted to point that out. Like, by the way, he might actually be brown, so let's not sit here and say that he's African American if he's not. That's actually happened to Satish before too, another contributor for the channel. People have said, "Oh, you're African American." He goes, "No, I'm actually brown," and they're like, "No, I'm pretty sure you're black." And he's like, "I think I would know." Literally, he's like, "I think I would know."
Right.
So that was. Yeah.
I mean, just to for the actors wise. As long as they do the characters justice, I think whoever they can cast to do the character justice, I think is fun.
Right. Also, by the way, I found the person. Yusaku Matsuda is apparently who Spike was based off of, which is kind of funny because when you see him, so you can look him up, Tristan, when you see him, you're like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think I actually saw a post about it. Somebody was posting about the Netflix adaptation. I saw that. I was like, huh?
So he was based off of an Asian person. You can say that he looked more white potentially in the anime, but I mean, looking at the anime, even though apparently Faye is supposed to be Singaporean, it does not seem like they gave anyone a particular, like, oh, you're supposed to be... Like, it seemed like it was, yes, the Earth existed, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people, if I remember correctly, had left the Earth by that point in the story.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it was that far in the future. So, I'm just putting out the fact that, like, you can have anyone be anybody, quite frankly. Yeah. Although I'm curious, because Daniela Pineda sounds Hispanic. Like Hispanic as in Puerto Rican, Cuban. I'm wondering if she... Oh, okay, so she's Mexican. Because I was wondering if she was Filipino, or Filipina, which would be Asian. Not, of course, Singaporean, but would still be Asian. No, however, she is Mexican. So, but again, like you said earlier, Tristan, as long as they play the characters well, I'm not interested in their race the way the internet seems to be.
Right, exactly. And like looking at each of the actors or actresses playing the characters, I looked at each one of them. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I could see them playing. Who they're listed as the cast. Like just
Yeah.
a little bit looking at each one of them. Like, yeah, I can see it.
Yes. I'm wondering what's going on with Ed and Ein. I'm pretty sure. No, because. Well,
Right.
because the thing with Ed is, depending on the version you're watching, the dub or the sub,
Mm,
there was a discussion of whether or not uh, Ed was a boy or a girl or gender
right.
fluid or something along those lines. So I'm curious
Right.
what's gonna happen with Ed, and then with Ein, I just want dogs. I want to
Yeah.
see a dog who gets pet and gets loved on set. So
I want to see a
I
dog
want to
doing the
see
doggy paddle through zero G gravity.
yes, yes, damn straight, Tristan. So yeah, so I'm curious about that. Because I'm interested. Because I'm. Oh, by the way, we also know, by the way, that Chris Yost, who by
Mm,
the way wrote the Thor: The Dark World, which is not a good sign, but then wrote Thor: Ragnarok, which was a great sign, is apparently writing the series and is also credited as executive producer. So I'm very interested in that.
right.
Also, I'm just interested to see what's going to be adapted if they're really going to take. They're just going to have all 10 episodes just condense
Mm,
all of the story
series.
that was kind of thrown out in the whole series.
Right.
That would be interesting. I hope that, though, I hope that it's not like other Netflix shows because I don't know what the general public thinks, but I know what I think. And Tristan, I think you might agree, although I don't remember how you felt about this. When it comes to the Marvel Netflix shows, the way that they
Mm,
created them, after a while it was like, okay, I know that in some cases I was enticed to watch the next one, but in other cases it's like I don't want to watch a 10-hour movie. I would like to watch an episode and have it finish,
right.
you know? Because that's the thing with the Marvel Netflix
Mm,
shows, from what I saw, and I think, yeah, you saw a bunch of them as well. Not all of them, but a bunch of them. There were some, especially with Daredevil, where it felt like you were just watching an elongated film.
okay.
Because it wasn't just that each and every one cut off. In some cases, it was cut off like, oh, watch the next episode. You want to watch it like you would any show. In
Right.
some cases, it felt like they blended and lent them like just kind of blended together, if you
Yeah.
will. Because other types of TV, they'll say, "Hey, we finished this week. We'll see you next week with another plot." Where it seemed as if for that show and some other Marvel Netflix ones, they just all went one to the next and the next and the next and the next. In this one, I hope that there's a little bit of breather room
Right.
because I don't know if I want like the entire 10 episodes to be about, let's say, like Spike dealing with
Because
Vicious.
yeah.
Yeah, like at a certain
No,
point,
I
it's like, all
feel
right,
like
calm
there's
down.
definitely going to be an arc to it.
But I hope it can be. Yeah, I hope it isn't the entire 10 episodes. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'm saying. Like I hope that the arc actually like it closes up, if you will. Like in the first episode, I don't want it to be like, oh, Vicious is behind this, or like, oh, Vicious is, and then like have like I think we can have some episodes without Vicious, is what I'm saying, and just have them
Yeah.
maybe one episode just you know
Them
taking a
on a bounce.
breather and doing something else.
Right.
That's just my take on it. But by the way, Tristan, do you think that this has the potential to do really well?
Yeah, I actually do. For once, for a live action series,
Yeah.
looking at this, I'm actually somewhat interested. Um, and it looks like they have a good cast and good people working on it. So, hope for the best.
I definitely do too. So I want to hear what you guys have to say about all of this stuff down below. Do you think it's going to be good? Do you think it's going to be bad? Again, just tell me everything you think about this, and if this is what you've been wanting to see from a Netflix Cowboy Bebop live action adaptation, down below.